Ready to go, Pete?
I'm ready.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the School Building Committee meeting of May 27th, 2021 to order. It is, can you see the time, 5:04? Is that right?
5:04.
5:07.
Okay, 5:04 p.m. Can we have attendance, please?
Mayor Humison,
Here.
Stefan Zaborowski,
Here.
Shannon Barry,
Here.
Stacy Burgess,
Here.
Chris Carey is not here, Ray Diaz is not here, Ralph Figge,
Present.
Brian Ferret, I don't see him, Shelley Hazlitt,
Here.
Bridget Matthews-Kane,
Here.
Bill Parks,
Here.
Brian Sullivan is not here, Cindy Sullivan,
Here.
Tammy Teft here, Chris Tolpa,
Here.
and Lisa Benoit said she could not make it. Also in attendance, we have Dan Pilata, Bert Gardner, and Jim Hannafan. Did I miss anybody?
Tammy, I just joined. This is correct.
Brian Ferret is here. Thank you, Brian.
So, Tammy, we have a quorum?
We do. We're good to go.
Very good. The next part of the agenda is public participation. Is there anyone who would like to address the committee tonight? If so, please give your name and address. Okay, seeing none. Item number 3, summary of community correspondence. Do we have any?
There is none.
Very good, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you. Seeing none, let's move on to item number 4, approval of the minutes, the last meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any corrections to the minutes?
Ralph made the motion, Brian made the second, Tammy.
Thank you.
You started looking. Any other comments or corrections? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Humison,
Yes.
Stefan Zaborowski,
Yes.
Shannon Barry,
Yes.
Stacy Burgess,
Yes.
Ralph Figge,
Yes.
Brian Ferret,
Yes.
Shelley Hazlitt,
Yes.
Bridget Matthews-Kane,
Yes.
Bill Parks,
Yes.
Cindy Sullivan,
Abstain. I was absent.
Tammy Teft, yes. Chris Tolpa,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5.
That would be OPM.
The
This is
FSA,
the FNS report and findings, Dan.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
It's item number 5 is the FAS report.
Oh, the FAS. So I'm going to just quickly say that having done a lot of these, we had the best FAS I think we could have possibly had, and it is a testament to the amount of participation that the school department, the community, and the committee did on the documents going up to the FAS. They had a couple of procedural things, and that was it, really.
They were looking for something to find.
Yeah, they were actually really complimentary, and we're not used to that from the MSBA. So that's a testament to Bert and his team and all the input you guys did. So with that, I'm going to toss it to Bert, and he's got a quick, and I mean real quick, Bert, quick. They got a budget meeting, quick.
Yep, I got you. So people, let's see. I think people should be able to see the slides. So quickly, as Dan said, we presented to the MSBA's Facilities Assessment Subcommittee a week ago yesterday on the 19th. He's not kidding. I've been to several FASs for projects we've done. I've been to a handful that other firms are doing just to see how they go and what other people do. I've never seen one go as well as this did. They asked us to look at massing to mark the entrance of the building, and they asked us to look at the soil conditions to make sure that we could handle storm runoff. those are things that we don't even look at in the PSR phase. Those are things that come up in schematic design. So, and they actually, I've never heard a compliment from them either, but they complimented the ed plan. So to
They were
get a
very
compliment on the
complimentary
ed
of the ed
program,
plan.
it's remarkable. So again, I'll just echo what Dan said. It's a testament to all the work that the city and the school department has done on the project, and everybody's commitment and participation in the project. So a few things that the full committee may not have seen, but that went to the FAS, because again, there are things that come in schematic design, but the FAS had specifically asked if they could look at some examples of building precedents for the type of vocabulary that we might use for the school. And so that's what this slide shows. We've got on the upper right-hand corner, the Pell Elementary School in Newport, Rhode Island. And then just below that is the College Park Elementary School in College Park, Georgia. So those are just two buildings. I know that we haven't really talked about the building massing materials or anything. The feedback that we've had is, some New England character, and if we can incorporate pitched roof somehow, you'd like to see us do that. So those are two that we just shared with a few people in town before we went to the FAS, so that we weren't completely misrepresenting anything. And then the interior pictures, we've talked a little bit about having circulation be able to look into the gym. That's the bottom left photo. And then above that is just a media center rendering from the East Hampton Elementary School that we did, that just kind of shows a lot of flexible uses of the space. So you got a story time area, you got low bookshelves, a lot of nooks and crannies for the kids to kind of gather at. So, and lots of natural light into the space. Yeah, so the FAS, as Dan said, went extremely well. They also asked for some building massing, so we came up with just these two things. But again, this is stuff that we're going to talk about and show you guys, get feedback. We'll refine it. We'll change things that people don't like. This is just something that we showed them to check the box that they were asking us to check at the presentation. But you can kind of see that we can certainly look at pitched roofs. We can look at the massing of the buildings and how it's going to fit into the neighborhood, how it relates to the guard base next door. So those were shared with the FAS, but we'll have plenty of time to refine and go through those. The other thing that we wanted to update you on tonight was the preferred schematic report.
Hey, Bert, can you hang on just a second? I think Councilor Figge had a question.
Okay. Yep.
Is that you, Ralph?
Yes, please. Explain to me massing. What's
Yes.
massing mean?
Okay, so massing is just like the scale of the different building elements. So they want to know how tall is a two-story classroom wing, how tall is your gymnasium compared to the media center, and really what they're looking for is it going to contextually fit in with the site? So what we explained to them at the FAS is that we stepped the building back to align it with the National Guard base because they're similar scale buildings.
Yes.
And that steps it back from the smaller residential properties that are here, so that you don't have a monstrosity kind of sitting at the street next to your three residential properties. We talked about how the second floor of the wing facing the Franklin Street, that kind of steps. It's not all the same. It's not a big mass. We kind of step that back again, kind of stepping down to the scale of the residential properties. And somewhat fortuitously, there's a lot of established trees between the houses that are on Franklin Avenue and their backyards and the school, and there's an existing fence line. So those are the kind of things we talked about when we hit this slide with them. And that's really what they're looking for, is that we're not going to put, a three-story classroom wing right up against the backyards of these smaller houses. So
Thank you for that.
We were specific to tell them that the massing, it could change depending on how you guys, when we go through massing studies and the facade studies. So everything we presented, we did have the caveat that the building committee will have the ultimate say during schematic design.
right.
Thank you.
Yep. So the other thing is we submitted our preferred schematic report late April, if you guys remember. Well, we just got the comments back, I think Tuesday this week. We've got 14 days, so our response to the comments will be due on June 8th. But again, they were pretty high level, not anything too difficult to respond to, I don't think. Architectural, they reminded us that we have to submit to Mass Historic as part of the schematic phase and to the Department of Early and Secondary Elementary Education. So those are two things we already know. They're on the work plan, they're on the schedule. So they just reminded us that those are due in this phase. They asked for the original signatures on the local actions and approval form, which we have to send in with every submission. But every submission, the original signatures follow late because we have to wait till the following building committee meeting to have the minutes approved and certified. So that's typical too.
And they're not open, Bert, so it's hard to deliver them. So it's-
Right, MSBA is not
We've
open.
been accepting electronic for now, so it's just kind
Yeah.
of procedural.
And we do have those. We have the signatures at this point in our office. We collected those after the probably the May meeting, the first May meeting we had. So we've got those. Request approval of grade reconfiguration. That's something that the superintendent has followed up with the school committee. That was in their last meeting. They voted to go to pre-K to 4 instead of a K to 4. So, and then they explained, this is the part everybody's been waiting, I think, since the project began. They went through the MSBA space summary guidelines and told us what they were going to be considered eligible for reimbursement. So we had asked for an additional 14,800 square feet of program space to support the ed program. And of that, again, this is a remarkable thing. They approved 11,700 square feet of that space. And that's kind of broken down on the right-hand side here. You got your 2 pre-kindergarten classrooms reimbursable, 2 additional general classrooms reimbursable. You've got your English language learners classroom is reimbursable. Breakout space, they limited to just 800 square feet. And I can tell you why they do that is we even explained it in our report that we cut general classroom sizes. We held them at 950 square feet where MSBA will allow you to go to 1,000. So that's 50, you do the math, 50 times the number of classrooms as the 800 that they're approving. I would say this is a critical component. You can't really just give the breakout space to 2 neighborhoods. You kind of have to give it to all 5. But that's something we can talk about a little bit more as we go on.
Bridget has had her hand up. I just want to give her an opportunity. I'm sorry.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine. Interrupt me, please. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm kind of asking this as the ward counselor. What is the Mass Historic? I don't know how that relates to the school.
We're required to go to the Mass Historic to make sure that the existing Franklin school is not on the historic registry, the federal or state historic registries, and we also check locally. And then they have 30 days to come back and tell us, yeah, it is, and this is, what are you going to do about it? And we have to tell them, or they're going to say, yeah, it's not on our registry, and then we'll just get a sign off locally that says
Okay.
it's not a problem. You can develop that site however you want. You not have to worry about any historic.
So that's more about getting rid of the old school and less about what we're going to do with the new school. Okay. Thank you.
And really all these little checks are just because these are things that can slow the project down later on. Like say we got all the way to construction and someone said, you're in a historic district, you can't knock that building down. And MSBA just wants to avoid all those kind of potential pitfalls for the project. So
It's a statutory requirement for the funding. It's in their actual statute that created them. It's no different than if at libraries, you got to do the same thing. And, they want to make sure you're not knocking down a beautiful building to build a new building.
Okay. Thank you. I was just curious.
Yep. So you also got your health classroom approved. I don't think I've ever seen a health classroom approved for reimbursement, and your reading classroom has been approved for reimbursement. Special education is its own animal. They basically will defer to the DESE approval. So we submit our plans to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. They'll review them. And what they're looking for is to make sure that they're checking the SPED program, basically. They're going to make sure that it's all appropriate, and they're going to also make sure that it's distributed appropriately through the building and that we're not kind of grouping those programs together into certain areas of the building and creating kind of stigmatized zones within the school. So if they're good with it, MSBA almost always approves it, hands down. Kind of like I've never seen a health classroom. I've never actually seen a comment on the SPED space, but they did have one this time. Despite all the positive, they asked us if we'd considered combining the occupational therapy and the physical therapy rooms into one space. So that's something that we will talk about, I think, moving forward to see if that's something that can be accommodated. It comes down to they have different equipment and we have to make sure that the space need is right and then that the scheduling will work too. But we'll respond to that with our comments and then we'll go from there, however that shakes out. The medical, we asked for 560 square feet for the nurses suite, including exam rooms and waiting areas. That was 50 feet over the MSBA guidelines. And the reason for that was at the time we were looking to social distance a little bit more in the waiting area. That's actually space that I would be willing to say if we're going to cut anything out, that's an easy one to look at. It's you know, there's other ways we can handle things like we've seen in the past year with the new building. You've got 2 exam rooms. Both of those can be equipped with negative air pressure for isolation. So I think that that's an easy one to kind of find some savings in. And then administration and guidance, we were 150 square feet over, and that's because we added a second adjustment counselor's office. MSBA only gives you one, what they call a guidance counselor, but it's really an adjustment counselor. And I think that if you read the ed program, there's certainly a need to kind of keep that program in this. So that's why we've held it so long, and it becomes really a building committee decision for any of the spaces that aren't reimbursable. So
this is a huge win for us. You know, they could have said no to 14,800 square feet, and they didn't. Again, a testament to how well the FAS went and how well the PDP and the PSR was put together by the team.
yeah, and how clear the ed program was when they put that together, how well stated it was, and it really explained what Westfield what their programmatic needs are, how they run things in the city, and why it was essential that they continue these services for the students. So it's hard to put into words. You know, it's one of those things where, like, if you didn't see it, you wouldn't believe it. It went that well. It really did. So
We're gloating.
a little bit, yeah. Actually, it went that far. At the FAS, one of the people from MSBA actually said, I hope you realize, or maybe it was the PSR call afterwards and they were talking about how well it went. But one of the MSBA team said, I hope you all realize how well that went. You really need to take a minute and congratulate yourselves and celebrate, because even they haven't seen it go like this. So really a lot of hard work by everybody involved, and it paid off. So it did feel good last week, I'll admit. So
Bert, one question on the previous slide, if I may.
yep.
The STEM room, why is that pending?
That's a good question. So the STEM room is a new thing with MSBA. They just recently put it on their space summary template, and in the notes column it says that you have to comply with their guidelines. So we've downloaded the guidelines, we've shared them with the school department. One of the things was that you have to have a certified STEM specialist as a full-time staff member, and the districts agreed to budget that in so that they could have this space. I actually personally think that the ed program was very detailed about your STEM program and the scheduling of it, the SPED program. And those are the 2 things that they want more information on, is what you're going to be doing with the space, and a little bit more information on the scheduling. So not having had STEM as part of a school I've done previously, because it's this new with MSBA, I'm not really sure what they're looking for. And what will happen is I'm going to end up talking more with the school department, and we'll come up with our best shot at it. But I think, and Dan, I was going to follow up with you. I think the best approach with that is, as soon as we have that answer ahead of our response, we should probably touch base with our team
Right.
at MSBA and run it by them and say, is this what you're looking for?
I also think, Ralph, the fact that it's pending is good, because it's easy to say no, especially when we did so well. But I think they really want us to have STEM, and they want to make sure that, you know, Westfield's is going to support STEM, and that the scheduling of the children can use that STEM class all day long, which I have no doubt we'll be able to accomplish.
Me either, right. And one of the things that it's called the STE classroom grades 3 and 4 on the summary template. And maybe we have to just clarify that the STEM program in Westfield starts at kindergarten. So all of the grades are going to be using this space. So I'm not really sure where they're coming from, but we'll dig into that one early and get some feedback from them before we do our response on June 8th to make sure that we're covering our bases. I think that I've done a lot of schools, and Westfield really has a strong handle on the STEM component. So compared to a lot of other districts that I work with, they really do. So
Thank you.
Then I just did a quick plan update. I don't know if anybody's really seen the latest plan, and I'm not even sure if this is the absolute latest, but it's within a day. So just kind of running through one change that we did is you can see the media center has switched places with the STEM room. The STEM used to be on the outside. We felt that if we put the media center on the corner, it would create a stronger corner for the building, presence on Franklin Street. And it would also give a little shelter for the outdoor space for the ST room, so that if they want to have a small outdoor classroom space here, they can do that without being, right front and center visible to all the traffic on Franklin Street. So that's why we did that. We've kind of relocated where the tiered seating open grand stair is. That used to be right off the corner of the admin block, but we think that the flow is much better if we move it over here to the corner. This will give us some opportunities to put some openings, some windows or window boxes that look into this STEM classroom from the seating. It can also be used for display for students' projects up there too. So other than that, we did move the art and music both to the first floor. That was feedback we got from the city that they'd rather have these adjacencies all near the performance space. So art, you have the opportunity for art shows out in the Main Street corridor or the lobby. The music has good adjacency to the stage for any performances you do. We've made some changes over here to the service space. I think that we'll continue to massage that area as we talk with Brian in the city about what's going to best serve them for the school. A big change is that we went from 2 lunch sittings to 3 lunch sittings at the school, which means you don't need as much space for your cafeteria. We did not go down to the minimum for the cafeteria because we want to make sure that you've got flexibility to grow on that. But we kind of met halfway in between what a square footage need for a 3-sitting cafeteria and a 2-sitting cafeteria would be. So I think that that's going to still be a very comfortable space, room to grow, like I said. And then if you really need to grow, we also have that kind of setback. So this spillover room out in the corridor that you could set up some tables and things like that. And we've also got the outdoor dining area just outside. So that's pretty much the big changes on the first floor. At the second floor, we've got all of our neighborhoods. We've changed the breakout space a little bit, which is the next slide. I'll show you that. But we've got the adjustment councils in the workroom, both in the Main Street corridor there. And then one thing that we did that we haven't really talked to anybody about except internally at our office is we put the speech, OT, and PT all on the common corridor, because where we had them in our plans at the PSR phase was in the far corner of each of the wings, which is very good as far as DESI's concerned with the distribution, but it's not so good when you consider that students from all age groups are going to be using these spaces, and that would require them to walk all the way through the neighborhoods to get to those spaces. So we put them out there. I think we still have very good distribution on our SPED spaces, and we've kind of tested it out. We can still put them back into the corners if DESI has a problem with it and be within the grossing factor restrictions that we've got for the building. But I think that functionally this might be a better solution. And again, as we continue through schematic design, we'll have these conversations and kind of vet that out. So then the neighborhoods themselves, what we've kind of arrived at is, if you saw, they were kind of long and narrow, but the thinking there is that they can spill over into the circulation zone, but it gives a nice clean area that's outside the circulation zone for any of your furniture that you put in that space. So you can leave your tables or your tiered seating or whatever furniture that we end up putting in that space. We can kind of leave it in the alcove. It really gives good visibility from the 4 classrooms. This side has direct access to it and the doors, and we can have side lights and plenty of visibility to that space. The other thing is, by doing it this way, I'm just going to jump up to the plan. This is 400 square feet. But if you consider that you can spill out into the corridor here, you've really got 800 square feet of usable space for your breakout. And the way we achieved that is we just pushed our small group spaces to the outsides of those classrooms. They used to be closer to the middle. So, and the doors to the classrooms are at the ends. So, whoop, wrong way. So this is the last slide, but I can show you a couple of things that we've talked about within the classrooms. They've got self-care spaces are a very critical piece of how the classrooms operate in the elementary schools. So we'd always talked about a quiet zone, but that was more for one-to-one work with a paraprofessional where they could kind of have a lower ceiling and you know, the teacher and the student could work together quietly without distractions. But the self-care space is more of an individual. You can grab a book and go read. So we built casework around a window that creates kind of a bench and like a little cave at the window where someone can go and sit down with a book and just have some quiet time to themselves. On the outside of the building, that would be reflected. We've got a window up top just for some daylight, and you know, the top of the casework could serve as a light shelf to maybe bounce it in a little bit, and then the smaller window that the students could look out if they're sitting in that space. We've also kind of we had like a peninsula and a whole bank of cabinets and then a peninsula for the STEM section. We've kind of put that into one bank of cabinets now so that we can kind of extend this window and maybe put shelving in the window for growing plants or something like that. So those would be some of the changes that we've been just kind of looking at as we're having discussions, more discussions with the district and with the furniture people and seeing what our options are. Again, nothing is set in stone at this point. These are all just, you're seeing the progress basically as it's in progress, and our conversations are continuing with the district and with you. So that's it for tonight. If people have comments, feedback, questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's really starting to feel real now, isn't it?
It really is. It's
Looking
very
like a school.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's great to hear so much positive news. It's just thrilling.
It was a fun week with MSBA, which are few and far between.
I just,
I really
I
hope
mean,
you
that
guys
was
went out and
great.
celebrated
thank you
that.
guys very
I'll
much.
tell you, I gotta tell you, MSBA has been great to Westfield,
They have.
not only on this project, but on others. And the fact that we have kept schedule during a pandemic is a testament to their doing their reviews as we're doing our work. It really is a positive. And I can't say enough good things about MSBA right now on this project.
I think it was that case of scotch we sent to Jack. That really helped.
Yeah.
Send them another one.
Get it all
Push up my chair so people can see each other.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I think it's a testament to just how the team works together and with Stefan's leadership too. Just knowing what the needs are with Chris and Stacy and we have been at this for a decade. So, and the needs have changed. And I think I'm a visual person. So seeing the pictures of that, like that street view of the mass or whatever you call it, that's amazing. Like, that's amazing. Like, wow, that's what it's going to look like. So, you know, great job to everyone. It's really spectacular.
I do want to have a caveat, and that is we aren't at budget yet. And as we've designed the utopic school, there will come a time where some things need to be adjusted and changed and flipped around, and there'll be some people not happy with those of us that say no. You know, we had a lead meeting today, our first lead meeting, just to lay out the process for lead so that you guys will get a complete lead package. And Brian and I both introduced ourselves as the ones that say we're the ones that unfortunately have to say no sometimes. You know, everybody was.
Dan, you're not allowed to say no to anybody.
So, but we are trying to get everything in that you want. But when we get to budget, it sometimes gets hard. And I just want to remind everybody of that each meeting, because you're going to stab me in one of these meetings. I can tell you that.
I will not promise I won't have a tantrum, but I will try hard.
That's
not you, Cindy, please.
Everyone knows I do not have tantrums when I want what I want, but you know, I will do my best.
We'll call him something else, Cindy.
Yes, you can.
Do we have to vote on that report?
Can I just say something with regards to, I would just want to thank Bert and his team. I think that he's really listened to the needs, he's digested the needs, and he's created something that I think all of us could not picture. So it's a testament to who we're working with. That's really what we expect, a listener and a creative thinker. And I really appreciate working with Bert and his team. He's easy to work with, and he's got our best interest at heart. So
I would agree, Chris. I would agree. It's been a real pleasure to work with Bert and just really work with the team, because it's been a lot of work, and when this finally comes to fruition, it will be so exciting to see, and just all this hard work has paid off. It's been great.
Well,
This is just the beginning, guys. This
It
is
is,
just the
right.
beginning.
We're not done.
And
Tammy, do we have to vote on that report?
the district is so
No,
passionate
so-
and they know what they want.
Thanks,
So
Bert.
number five and number 6 are really just kind of a brief update. So you could see where Bert and his teams have started with all the meetings. Every meeting that he's having with different people are bringing this project forward. So it was just pretty much getting you guys to kind of see what was going on. So Bert, did you have anything else for the architectural update? I mean, you guys are just going to continue on.
We're just going to keep going. Yeah, we have, there's a lot of meetings. There's stuff that we've got to schedule our geotech to go back there again. And I'll probably do that very soon, because I don't think that the shape of the building is going to change too much at this point. So they're going to go and do borings at the corners of the building and things like that to help with the foundation design. So yeah, it's just a lot of follow-up stuff. Nothing really other than that to report. We're just following the process through. I did share minutes with people, or I tried to, through New Forma, of the meetings that we've had so far, and I can continue doing that as we get them done. They might have lacked, they were probably done before I got around to sending them out, honestly. But it's just because with the schedule, we're just having meeting after meeting after meeting, and so it's just kind of a lot to gather the information, document the information, and make the updates to the plans, which is really the priority. Is we're trying to keep the plans as updated as we can. But I will try to share, at least before every building committee meeting, with people what we've discussed, so you can look through those. So
Perfect. Thank you, Bert.
We're going to give you Monday off, Bert.
Thanks, Dan. What about Saturday and Sunday? No? All right.
Let's move on to item number 7 then.
Dan, I think that was yours. Module 4 schematic design.
Module 4 schematic design. All that information gathering that we're doing, that Bert is talking about, is for us to prepare for Module 4. Module 4 will be voted on by the Board of Directors in June 23rd. That's our official kickoff to Module 4. We're planning on having Module 4 completed in August, the last day of August. So that we can get it into submission for September, so that we can get an October board meeting on our PFA, so funding can occur before the first of the year. So we are definitely on an aggressive schedule, and Bert isn't kidding when he said he's all this information gathering to help the design team. We know it's a lot, and like I said earlier, I thank everybody for participating in what you can, but there's a method to the madness, and the madness lines up with the MSBA meetings. So we're trying not to miss one of those meetings, because we lose 2 to 3 months every time we do. And so far, we haven't missed one. And that, again, is a testament to the fact that you guys are making decisions, and Bert's incorporating those decisions. And I'm sorry about the lawnmower that my neighbor's doing.
Any questions for Dan?
No, but I just wanted to point out, so after the PFA, so after the board votes in October, the city would then work towards getting our PFA agreement signed, and that would be a council vote sometime in December. So just keeping that in mind for everybody. Yes, timing's not the greatest on this, but
the PFA cannot be signed until you've authorized funding. That's the last piece of the PFA. But we'll know in September, late September, what the exact dollar amounts are, so that we can start meeting with L&O and finance, so everybody can be up to date.
thank you, Dan.
All right.
Item 8.
So that's me. So in light of Governor Baker's declaration that as of June 15th, the open meeting law goes back to having in-person meetings. There is some legislation that's being filed to possibly extend what we're current under until September to allow for Zoom type meetings. That being said, I just want to have you guys start thinking about that. Our next meeting, which is in 2 weeks, again, will be a short meeting because I believe there is some, the public hearing for the budget is that night. But I would like to start thinking about how you want to handle the summer meetings. If we can continue to do Zoom, I think that might be more beneficial to the team as a whole. But I didn't want to make that decision without actually getting some input. So we don't have to actually vote tonight, but just if we want to have some thoughts, and then the next meeting, we can kind of put together what we'd like to see for the rest of the summer.
Good. I spoke with Governor Baker tonight or this afternoon, and he's been in touch with legislative leaders, and he believes that there will be not just an extension, but a change of the law to allow this to continue to happen into the future. So,
Yeah.
Because it's just been proven to be really convenient and helping to facilitate getting things done. So.
I happen to think that the presentations by Zoom with the PowerPoints are far easier to follow when you're Zooming than when you're actually in an auditorium watching them.
Yeah.
You know, you get into that detail.
Oh, thank you.
Number 9, community engagement.
So this again was something that Dan and I talked about having something standard on the agenda. There's really nothing I think that we wanted to talk completely about tonight, but it was just something that we wanted to keep on the agenda so we could continually talk about how we're going to engage the community. You know, we want to make sure that everybody's keeping up on what's happening and that they have a voice and it's being heard. Thanks to the superintendent with the email. We just wanted to make sure it was on here. Dan, did you want to put a little bit?
Quickly, because I don't want to take too much time, but as part of the FAS, one of the components is what have you done for community engagement? And we did have a slide showing all the community engagement, and they breezed right past it because it was a lot of community engagement. Yeah. And I think if we continue down that path as we hit milestones and continually interact with the community, whether it's through Stefan's radio programs and TV programs, or actual meetings with the school parents in the 2 school districts, in the town, as the city as a whole, I think we're going to be in good shape.
Good.
And Bert is going to present to both Abner and Franklin Avenue teachers on Tuesday afternoon with the most updated information that he can give. So I think that's pretty exciting because I know some teachers are still not convinced because they've been waiting 10 years. So I think this will, just like you feel, Cindy, I think this will put a little bit of a hop in their step, knowing that there's really some concrete things that are going on in conversations, and they'll feel a part of that.
Awesome.
Item number 10, any other items not reasonably anticipated 48 hours prior to this meeting? Let me just make an announcement that I spoke with Attorney Shanna Reed from the city, and she said that she's been in touch with the attorneys for, was it 129 Franklin Street? And they believe that the tenants, the current tenants, will be out of the building and they'll be able to close by, well, sometime in the middle of June, but definitely by the end of June. So that property will be ours, will be the city's very soon. And then Tammy and I and others have had conversations about the next step, which is beginning to figure out how we're going to pay to take them down and prepare the site for the construction. So that's moving along.
If I might just add, she also talked to them about a right of access, I think, so that land surveyors can get in that's early. Right. Again, trying to facilitate this schematic design schedule because that's becoming part of the school property. We want to get that surveyed and incorporated into our existing conditions plans. So they'll be probably on their property before it's closed completely, but the paperwork's in order to make sure that's all facilitated.
Yeah, and they're not going to be going into the house, Bert. They're just going to be going outside and looking at the property.
Correct, yeah. But I appreciate the work on the city's behalf to kind of make that possible for us. So.
Good, I'll pass that on. Thank you. Any other items? I can't see anybody, so. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Motion's made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mayor Humison,
Yes.
Stefan Zaporowski,
Yes.
Shannon Barry,
That was a
Stacey
yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Ralph Figgy,
Yes.
Brian Ferret,
Yes.
Shelley Hazlett,
Yes.
Bridget Matthews Kane,
yes.
Bill Parks,
Yes.
Cindy Sullivan,
Yes.
Tammy Teft, yes. Chris Tolpa,
Well, yes.
Who made the second?
Counselor Matthews Kane.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate all your help tonight.
Good luck
Good
with
luck at the
Thanks,
next meeting.
everybody.